What's up? I'm Corey.
I'm Kelly.
It's been a while.
Yes, it does.
So something that's been on my mind for the last day is how grateful I am that I no longer have to be right. I don't even feel a desire to convince anybody of my beliefs or opinions, whatever you want to call them. I'm living in the present, so I'm happy with where I'm at. But I was thinking the trajectory of my life, I was very argumentative for most of my life. I mean, I would argue anything. Always had to be right.
Either side.
Oh, yeah. If you picked a side, I'm going with the other. Even if I don't believe it, but I'm going to do all I can to convince you I'm right. I mean, how miserable to be married to or to be around and to just... That's a difficult way to live. To feel like I have to convince everybody that I am right. I have some greater knowledge. I have some greater connection with the universe than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was constant and it was exhausting. And it's really rare to sit and have a conversation with somebody that also has that same mentality. They don't have to be right. And I'm open to the fact, not only that I don't have to be right, that I'm wrong. And that's even like the next step.
Mm-hmm.
You know, accepting the fact that I'm not always right is one thing, but to actually know that I might be wrong, that's kind of like yanking the ego right out of my chest and saying, you're just wrong. And I have been wrong many times in my life. I get it wrong every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm open-minded, and it's so freeing and liberating to know that I don't know everything. And there's more that I don't know than I do know. And it just brings a sense of peace and just a change within my body that I just don't struggle with, you know. You sent me that video yesterday, and that just brings to mind, you know, everything I know could be wrong. Even the fact of what I'm supposed to eat and put in my body. The things that I'm supposed to do to keep myself healthy. Maybe it's all wrong. I mean, look at this world. Look at the country we live in. We were taught 3 meals a day, 4 snacks in between, eat all the time. And I mean, that was given from the food nutrition guide. And it's just, you know, what if most of the stuff that we embrace is just wrong?
Yeah.
Ouch. Don't tell me that, because it's so fundamental to who I am. I need all this stuff to be who I am. So don't yank my ego out. I don't know, it's a transition in life to just not have to be right and accept that I'm even wrong.
I'm really loving these points of progress. Like, it's recognizing, it's like we come to this place where we recognize how far we have progressed. You know, like, I'm sure something in your life is happening right now that's showing you this, that's revealing this to you, how far you've come, you know, from who you have been. I too have been like that. Like, I don't know what it is. Just that argumentative. Like, I always have to take the opposite side of an argument and just prove, especially just in the relationships that are close to me. Like, you know, whenever we get into conversations with people or arguments with people, it's like we're always trying to prove our point, you know, and instead of being understanding of the other person's point, being open to hearing what another person says. It's a whole different mind shift, listening to being open to someone instead of being combative and being defensive and argumentative. I mean, it's a whole different way of approaching conversations.
And not only being open, but saying, what is God trying to teach me?
Yes, because there is just so much that we have learned in this life that is just incorrect. And I think, you know, a lot of it is just, it's being born into this world at the time that we're born into it. I mean, the information that that we have available to us today, it's just so much. And we don't know what is true and what is not. And I love that we have been counseled by a prophet in the world today to seek discernment, to have discernment, to receive personal revelation. Like, we are not going to make it in this world today without personal revelation and without the gift of discernment, because there's just so much in this world that is trying to pull us in so many different directions. But I love being able to recognize our progress, seeing how much we've changed. The other day, I stepped on the scale for the first time in over a year. And my whole life, like, you know, we've got weight stuff, you know, we've talked about it before in other videos. I stepped on the scale this time, and I was so amazed that I had absolutely no reaction. It was so weird to me. Like, I did not have a voice in my head that was critical or that was judgmental or that was shaming me or guilting me or telling me that I should be, you know, something different than what I was. It was like I just saw a number and I was totally good with it. And that is the first time in my life that has ever happened to me, stepping on a scale. And I was like, just to see the progress within me, that so many of those voices are just not even there anymore. And I'm so grateful for that, because in the past, like I said, I mean, there were days I would get on the scale 3 times a day, and I would be so controlling of my food. I would just have that critical voice constantly telling me, like, just horrible things about my body, and just so critical. And you know, I think so much of it is today just practicing living so much in the present and now, and just surrendering so much and doing those things that are healthy. Like, whenever we are consistently being healthy and making healthy choices, it's like, whatever my body is, I mean, that is just what it is. I'm doing my best to be my best, and so I'm more accepting of where I am, you know. But it was just an awesome moment to recognize that I didn't have any voices running in my head, like critiquing me and telling me how horrible or whatever. Like, it was just awesome.
It is. And when you eat right, and when you eat in a way that's best for your body, it's like the scale is just this thing that wants to tell you what the world wants you to believe. I don't know.
Yeah.
What is this? I haven't been on a scale in a long time.
Yeah, I only got on it because my husband had pulled it out and got on it, and I was like, well, let me see where I am today. And I was like, okay, well, that's...
Oh, I got on
fine.
at the doctor's office months ago. It was like 162.3, something like that. Which is light, but it's a lot heavier than I was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just, you know, when you were saying that, I was like, I wonder what weight you'd have to get on there for that voice to really get loud.
Right.
To yell at you.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you're living the right way,
truly.
And you're eating the right way for you, and you're doing those things, then everything else is just, that's the body you were blessed with. Right. Now, I did listen to somebody talking recently. I think it was something you shared that if I'm fat, said the F word, hope nobody gets triggered, but if I'm fat and just morbidly obese, to put it nicer, if that's nicer, I'm not going to be happy.
Right.
The reason I'm obese is because I'm eating stuff to shut stuff up.
Right.
To quiet those voices, to find relief from emotions that I'm feeling. And this is just the way that we've learned to deal, so many people have learned to deal with trauma and depression, or whatever you want to call it, through eating. And I was talking with a customer of mine just a few days ago that said her whole life she had a very dysfunctional relationship with food. And I was like most people, because we don't understand food. We don't understand the energy that it gives us, and we don't understand the calories and the different values to proteins, carbs, and fats not good, and I mean all this stuff. Cholesterol is not bad.
Well, fat's not bad either.
None of it is.
Yeah.
None of it's good or bad.
Right.
It's like, what am I doing this for? Why am I putting this in my body? Because if I'm doing it for a reason other than providing nutrition for my body, then I'm doing something that's not constructive or productive for my body.
Right. I'm trying to soothe it.
Why am I eating? Instead of...
It's an emotional thing.
Yeah. Instead of eating, let's fast. Not to lose weight, but to get in touch with myself. And that's something that I've grown to know for myself, and there's nobody out there that could tell me that fasting's bad for me. It might be bad for them, but I have a knowledge. I don't have any faith or like some kind of testimony about fasting. I guess it's a testimony, but I don't. That's one thing that I'm not going to argue with anybody about either, because maybe fasting isn't good for them.
Yeah, there have been times in my life where I could not fast because I was too underweight and losing, and you lose a little bit of weight whenever you fast, and it was just not healthy for my body. So I could not fast at that time.
And that's the great thing about it, is I don't have to be right, but I know that fasting works for me.
Yeah, me too.
So it's just, why do we do the things we do? What are we protecting? Am I just doing this because I have a need to be right, because my ego wants to defend my belief system and the things that are working for me, although it's not working for me because I'm fat, I'm unhappy, I'm mean to people, I don't feel the love of God in my life regularly. Why? So it's not a matter of being right or wrong. It's just like, why am I doing what I'm doing? I don't know if I'm rambling now. Kind of.
Yeah, it's really being able to be self-aware, question ourselves, being open to change, being open to being wrong, like you said, recognizing where we are wrong and doing the work to actually change those behaviors and those patterns and just those ways of being that we get so stuck in. I think one of the hardest, I say this, I don't know, for myself, like addictions and pulls and things is food. There is the food one, which I think that most people, the majority of people have, because
sugar.
We do have to eat and we're just attached to food in so many different ways. And relationships. Codependency is so big. Like being attached to people and having ruminating thoughts about people and how to help people and change people and fix people and help other, it's just, I just recognize so much in my life. But at the same time, I'm being given an opportunity right now to really practice the things that we've been talking about for like the past 2 years, and just the things that I've come to understand and recognize about breaking these patterns and these cycles of codependency. So my husband and I he's been more open, like I've been able to record us, and share stuff on social media. And so he's becoming open, and so I feel like I can share a little bit more about us and our situation and everything. And
I thought you were saying y'all shared. I got you and Keith.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all did?
Yeah,
Cool.
I've been recording us and sharing things. But it has a lot to do with like mental health and like bipolar. Like he's been struggling with bipolar depression and mania, like for his whole life, but for the past few years, like majorly. And I've recognized over the past little while there's a lot of, like, with bipolar disorder, there's a lot of, like, rapid cycling. And so you could be high and low many times throughout the day. And I'm so grateful that over the past few years, I've been working on, like, being balanced as much as I can, just with all the things that we do, with meditation, with just, all of it, all the stuff that we talk about. And so as he is really stepping into acceptance and recognition and just being open and the vulnerability and everything, it's bringing up a lot of stuff. It's triggers are coming up, but it's so awesome because he's starting to recognize and understand, and we are able to communicate differently because I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to get in those same arguments and like we were talking about. But it's interesting because I can recognize again my progress, because as he rapid cycles throughout the day, I can recognize how I approach it differently. In the past, I would get so easily triggered and everything would become an argument because I would take so many things personal, and I would have to defend things, and I would have to prove my point, and I would have to, just me. But it's like whenever I just am able to be open and just listen and understand and have compassion and just be a container and to just allow, it's so different. It's like it allows another person to have those rapid cycling, and I don't have to get sucked into it, but I am recognizing that there are times when I do. And when I do, that is giving me opportunities to recognize again for myself, okay, I got triggered into some kind of emotional response. And so what is there for me to see? And it's so different doing it with another person in a relationship than just like by myself in my closet, in my own little world,
or with your brother once a week.
Yeah.
It's the next level.
It is. It's totally different.
Awesome.
Having growth with another person. It really is. It just shows us so much about ourselves. And I can just again see how far I have come in this process, because every day it's like surrendering. It's just surrendering over and over and over, surrendering him over and allowing his process to be whatever it is. Like, I don't have to control it. I don't have to try to fix his moods. I don't have to try to do anything different than just allow and listen. It's just so incredible whenever we just give our lives over and just let it be and just have love and compassion, and just I have to sit in meditation every day because I have to ground myself in the spirit and feel that love within myself so that I can bring that out into my relationships.
That's great. Yeah, when you were talking, I was over here minimizing my own progress.
Yeah, we do that a lot.
Wow, shit, man, that's why I don't have those relations. Then I'm at the very end, I was like, I have relationships. So what if they're 13 and 9 and, 18 and 21, and it's not with a spouse, but even the last thought I had is, well, maybe I'm just minimizing or just not giving myself credit for the fact that I can have a relationship with a child and admit that I'm wrong. Not a lot of adults can do that, to say, well, my child's probably right. And usually children are pretty...
Well, but too, you do have a relationship with your ex-wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a whole different way than you did in the past. I mean, you got to look at the progress
has been made.
has,
For sure. In a lot of aspects of my life, yes.
Yeah.
The thought is, man, I'm not lonely.
That's good.
But I'm alone the majority, a lot. I am alone with myself. And I was never comfortable with that before, but it's okay. And once I really love it and embrace it, I know that's when somebody's going to come into my life, and that's just the way life is.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
totally.
And then I get to really practice that relationship.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I mean, I'm good with where I'm at. I'm good with everything's good. But yeah, that's to be in a 35-year relationship and to expect it to change, it's not going to change. To be in a 10-year relationship, a 5-year relationship, and just expect it to change, you have to work on it and work on facilitating change.
Yes,
to
absolutely.
act up on. Because matter in motion, if something doesn't come in and change it, it's just going to keep going in the same direction. You're going to keep just doing what you're doing. I was said, you know, like a couple magnets flipping over back, and so y'all are great, and then you're just flying apart. And then you're
Yeah,
great,
totally.
and you're just flying apart.
Yeah.
That's bipolar level 2 or whatever it's called. Bipolar 2, rapid cycle bipolar is woo.
It is like I have just never in my life.
That's I'll just throw the Bitcoin term in for hodl. I mean, if you're in a relationship like that, you got to hold on for dear life and just say, this is only going to be a few minutes.
Right.
Maybe an hour.
Yes.
At the max,
yes.
a few, maybe half a day.
Yeah.
That's an eternity.
It
in a
is.
relationship within a home in a walls.
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
that's awesome. And how awesome that Keith is. I said his name. I hope that's okay.
That's
but
fine.
your husband, you know,
I mean,
that
yeah.
he is. He's open to that.
Yeah.
And you know, that's
It's huge.
maybe why God put us on. Another reason God has done this in our lives was to allow y'all to make that, because it's so healthy. Is to just talk.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I'm just so grateful.
I am grateful too. You know, I'm just. It's a beautiful day. I'm getting into good routine that I kind of got in the holidays were there was a few months I was just really difficult, but just can't complain about much, you know.
I could, but
No, I mean,
but it's
yeah.
not. But you know, it's just. I just love life. I love that we just have this opportunity to experience all of it. And I've talked about it in a few videos previous to this. It's like it's not about what's happening around us, because every single one of us, we're in our own personal types of experiences, and they're all affect us all, you know, how they do. And a lot of it, the ways that they affect us is just very similar, because I mean, there's only like so many emotions that we can experience, and we all experience them, you know, with the different types of experiences that we have. But it's how we are showing up to it, you know. And if we're angry, and if we're depressed, and if we're anxious all the time, and if we're just in all these different negative, heavy, weighty feelings, you know, it's like we got to do something different, and only we can do it. Someone cannot do it for us. We can't be put into rehabs. We can't be put into mental institutions. We can't be locked up, you know. We have to be the ones who step up and commit ourselves to our process of growth, and, you know, wanting something different, because that's why we are here. We are here to have joy, to have love in our experiences, and bring that into this world, even whenever we are living in whatever situations we're living in. We can still be love. We can still experience that. I'm just so grateful to be at the place in my life today where I understand it. It's a knowing for me today.
Yeah, that's great. There was a moment, I don't know if I've shared this before or not, but I might have. I shared it with somebody. But there was a moment since I've been separated and divorced that I was intoxicated, and I mean, I was loaded, and it wasn't good. And the guy that I was living with came in and said, you know, Corey, I love you. I've loved you for a long time. And if you're going to come in here and kill yourself, I'm not going to stop you. But it's going to be really sad for me to have to call your dad and for me to have to call the ambulance to bring your dead body out of here. But if you want to do it, I mean, who am I to stop you from doing it? Closed my door and walked out. And talk about staying with me. You know, it was like, but everybody always wants to stop me. Everybody always wants to change me. My relationships have always been dysfunctional, whether it was with the legal system or with rehabs or with family or with a wife or whatever. I was always trying to sneak or get away with or do or whatever. And when he said that, I was just like, wow. You know, and that was the first time, and the second time was in Minnesota. My buddy said, you know, Corey, I don't want to go to your funeral. But who am I to stop you? But I don't want to go to your funeral. Life is too good. Live. Let's be together, you know? I'm just like, healthy people, putting it so bluntly, that aren't dealing with this codependency and this mental illness stuff. It's like, somebody really healthy just walked into my life and said, if you want to kill yourself, do it. That was pretty powerful to me. A real shift in my life. And how great. Progress is great. And you know, that was the thought that came to mind that I'll say again, is change is not going to just happen in your life. Things might always be changing, but you're going to still be moving until you do something to act up on matter. It's just basic laws of physics. Nothing's going to change until something's acted upon, and we have the ability to act. We have the ability to create change. We just need the wisdom and knowledge to know what we can change and what we can't change.
Yeah, I guess it's been about 9 months ago. I don't even know when the thought came into my mind, but the thought came into my mind that Keith and I, we needed to move to Thibodaux, like an hour and a half from where we are right now. And I kept kind of putting it off, and it just didn't feel like the right time, but it kept coming to me that I needed to make this change, that something needed to change in my life. And whenever I made that decision that, okay, when my lease comes up again, like, I'm not renewing my lease. Like, we have to be moved by April 30th. Whenever I made that decision, and I shared that with my husband, and just things are now, that ball is now rolling. Like, so much has been changing in my life. Like, my husband has so much hope, and just his hope has changed. Like, he's got excitement again. Like, there's just this a new, and I understand that we are bringing ourselves to a new location, you know, but we are changing ourselves. Like, things are rapidly changing. That's what's so miraculous today, is that I see the change happening so rapidly. Like with the rapid cycling that I was talking about with the bipolar. I feel almost like it's a blessing. It's a miraculous thing that is happening, that these triggers and all this stuff is happening so fast, and that he's seeing things so quickly that his healing is almost happening just as fast. Because we're able to talk about it and see it, and it's not being shoved down by addictions and by, you know, just ignoring it and not talking about it, and, you know, just all the things that come with that. And so I'm just so grateful that we have the ability, we have the capacity within us to change our lives, if we don't like the trajectory that it's on, we can shift it. We can make different choices. We can do differently. And I can just see, it's happening. It's happening in my life. And God is just a God of miracles, and he loves to shower miracles down upon us and bless our lives, even just with our small efforts, just the little things that we do that bring us closer to him, you know. And whether that's just take care of our body, our mind, our spirit, our emotions, just just all of it. Like, he wants us to draw closer to him. And we can draw closer to him in so many different ways. It's not just by going and sitting in a church or sitting in a temple or, the things that we do, drinking water is drawing closer to him because we're taking care of our body. Just loving ourselves, loving another person. Just, there's so many things. Just appreciating the birds in the sky, appreciating nature, just having gratitude is drawing closer to God.
Recognizing that your challenges are a blessing in your life is just transformative. And it does draw you closer to God because you realize that you can't overcome those things until you humble yourself and say, I can't do this on my own. And it's that is awesome. I can't. Ren comment, depression is a blessing. It's like, how is depression a blessing? But what a blessing to know that this isn't gonna last. Even if you have chronic depression, it's not going to stay. If I can facilitate change within me and do the things, because I wasn't put in a depressed body.
Right.
I'm put in a infinite expanding body, and it wants to vibrate faster. But what am I doing to keep myself down? And that's all. It's everything. I need sunlight. I need to be in nature. I need to be with birds and animals. It's awesome to recognize that those things that we think are weaknesses or illnesses can become what make us who we become, who we are. It's a blessing from God, and to think that it's a curse, it takes a whole shifting of consciousness to realize that we have been blessed with many things in immortality that are there for our growth, to help us move forward and to rely on the only person that can really make that change, that real solid change, which is our connection with God. We can only do it, but He is the one that gives us that hope, that courage, that strength to persist and move forward. That's awesome. Progress is great.
It is.
How are we progressing? And if I'm not progressing, then what can I do?
And it's really just the small things. It's tiny things every day. Just walking, drinking more water. Just, what are number 10s? What can you replace a lower number thing with? Just, yeah.
There's a lot I need to do. There's a lot I want to do. I'm good just how I am if I want to be, but I want to grow.
I do too.
If I stop growing, we've said it before, we are all either expanding or contracting. There's no being stagnant in this molecular vibrating thing that we call a body.
And I find too that it's so important to be around people who do lift us. Like, just getting together with you, it grounds me, it reminds me, it helps to center me. It brings back everything that we have learned over the past couple of years back to me, so that I can be stronger and do better and just more. And it helps me so much. I don't think I realized it, because we were meeting like every single week, sometimes 3 or 4, a lot, like especially in the beginning. But since over the past few months, we haven't really gotten together as regularly and close together, like I realize how important it is to be with someone who is like
working,
feeds us and helps to bring up our energy, and working on the same kinds of things. We need those people in our lives.
Yeah, I definitely want them in my life. It's good to get together for sure. And how great. It's good to just be consciously present mindful and aware of the progress we're making instead of those voices that want to tell us the contrary. Because we have put in a lot of work. And I'm not perfect. But progress eventually might lead to that, like 99.999, and then...
Well, perfect is completion, you know?
Someday,
I think,
maybe. Maybe today, maybe right now. I mean, who knows? You know, when is that going to happen? Well, when today arrives, it'll be today that it happens, as we've mentioned many times before.
Exactly.
But right now, I am making progress, and I'm good with that. And when I'm wrong, I'm good with that. And when I'm right, I'm good with not letting anybody know it. I'm just right. And I'm going to sit and smile and say,
you're right.
Great. And not be offended and not like walk away like, that person's great, what a moron. No.
Right. No.
I think, what was he teaching me? Because I want to grow. So, you know, what was he right about? What was she right about? There's got to be something I can take away from every interaction I have, because God is in it all.
Yes.
So how can I grow from that instead of how can I beat that down?
Yeah, I love that.
Just be in harmony with it all. And I will say that maybe within all religions, but I am a Christian, so therefore my experience is most Christians really are right. They just have that I'm right. You're going to hell. I'm right. My church is going to heaven. Y'all are, man, that sucks for y'all.
Yeah.
So, come on.
Yeah.
God loves us all.
Yeah.
He's going to be, come, my child, come on.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, look who did it. Come on. Who did it for you? Or I did it for you. He's good. Just give him a hug and go. I don't know. I'm so grateful that say it once more. I don't have to be right. And I'm okay with being wrong.
Yeah, totally.
So, life is good.
It really is. It really is. And all of it. It just really is. All right.
Y'all have a beautiful day.
Bye, y'all.